Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Peeves and Qs. I am your host, MisterRed, and with me as always is the CleverGirl.
Hi! And that's it!
And that's it! Everyone else is out or busy, you couldn't do it today, so...
Everyone is making great strides in their lives, and we are sitting at home.
Leaps and bounds, and here we are, eating pizza rolls. Which is good, we're having fun. So how are you? How's it going?
Is that our first? You're just going to open our first segment?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, wait, what is the show? We're Peeves and Qs. What we do here is we ask each other questions, talk about what's going on in our lives, and what we're annoyed by.
And things that annoy us.
And things that annoy us, yeah. Has it been, I feel like it hasn't been that long, but I'm just all confused.
Because there's not many people in the room.
Yeah,
normally
I know.
You're like, we gotta go.
I know, and we usually can't get very far because people are
like wait, I'm choking on my M&Ms.
Right.
We all know who we're talking about. So yeah, I'll lead us into this first segment. How are you? I've been awful.
No, that's not good.
Since the last time we recorded, it has seriously been just like a downward spiral of a couple of things, but mainly because it's been change, and I do not handle change very well. So, how are you?
I've been good, unfortunately. I as we were talking about, I discovered an app that you can listen to library audiobooks through called OverDrive, and if you have a library account, it's free to sign up for. You can just like listen to music. Probably, but
listen to music.
You probably could. You listen to audiobooks and the like. So I've been listening to It by Stephen King.
And so you have already?
Yeah, I've started. Yeah.
And what's it like?
It.
Shut up. What is the book like?
I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about like the greatest writer of our time, but he just has like this really weird dreamlike quality to everything that he writes, where it just doesn't. None of the characters, and this is true of every Stephen King book. None of the characters act the way that humans act. Everything is like the most important like moment of their lives, 24/7, and they're just like thinking about the entire span of their lives all at one moment.
Yeah,
it's just
I think that's like, I feel like children do think that every moment that they live is typically like the first time they've ever encountered something.
True.
Within reason. And so I think when he writes for children, I completely think that. Not that he writes for children much in his books.
He does, actually. And there's another thing that he has a lot. I don't know if he's like more child-righty than other people, but a lot of his stuff have...
You're right, like flashbacks or a child through this perspective, like The Shining.
Yeah.
Or, like Dreamcatcher is basically the same as It, is where it like bounces back and forth between the younger years and the older years of these characters that he's created.
There's Carrie, which is older. There's Firestarter.
Yeah, Carrie's a very weird book because it's written like mostly in like newspaper clippings.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Interesting. But Salem's Lot is the same way, where there's like young kids and they're just like doing things and behaving in ways that it's like adults aren't even this well thought out or like like deep and intellectual as like these children are. I don't know. Well,
I'm sure just like it is for acting, it's hard to act normal. I'm sure it's hard to write normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's why you have to be good at it to be a writer. And I'm not saying he's bad at it. I'm not saying he's bad at it. The way he constructs like sentences is very like masterful. It's just, I don't know. It's very hard for me to...
I'm going to ask you like a sub question before we can get into questions. Is there a character in any Stephen King novel that you identify with? Is that even possible to identify with any of these characters?
I mean, yeah, I think that's what makes it a good book. Even though these characters don't act the way that you would expect normal people to act, they still have, like, they're all, downtrodden and they're all, put upon and they have, like, problems in their lives that I think everyone can identify with. That's why, like, the Losers Club is so... It's why the story works so well, because it's like, I see myself in these kids. Even though, as I say, they don't talk or behave the way...
I didn't really see... I guess I did. Like Bill Haystack or whatever.
Hanscom.
Right, but his nickname's Haystack in the book.
Wait, I might be
thinking Don't lie.
Thinking of Mike Hanscom. I don't know.
No, you were... No. No, you're right. Okay, anyway.
Hey guys, it's Alex after the fact here, and the character we were thinking of was Ben Hanscom. Sorry about that.
Because, yeah, his whole story of, like, being teased, I guess I identify with that. Yeah. And, like, him being scared. He was scared of a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I identify with that. I was very scared as a child, like, of everything. Yeah. So are you, though. You had, like, way problems, though.
Not really problems. I was just, like, so scared of things, but then I got over them. It's weird.
Yeah, I never get over them. Ever.
Yeah. When you think about debilitating fears from your childhood, you imagine, oh, I was scared of this thing when I was young, and then you grow up, and you're like, you still have, like, aftershocks or whatever. And for me, I don't have those at all. I'm just, like, completely over it.
That's crazy.
That's so funny that I used to be scared of, like, bugs, which I still hate, but, like, I'm not scared of. I just don't like them. And tornadoes and thunderstorms, stuff like that. And also, like, germs. I was a huge germaphobe, and now I'm not.
Thanks to Osmosis Jones. Like, that kickstarted you.
That probably was it, yeah. That movie was terrifying.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, I think I want to revisit it.
Things I was scared of as, like, a child. Mm-hmm. Well, I was the youngest of, like, 6 girl cousins.
I thought you were going to say siblings, and I was
siblings,
like, that's a huge...
And they all died. No, of 6 girl cousins, mm-hmm. The youngest. The oldest being 6 years older than me.
Oh, that's quite the gap.
It is. And so all of them are wanting to watch scary movies and, like, what do you say? Even if you say no, they don't mm-hmm. care because you're the only one that says no. And of course, it's always fun to pick on the one that's scared. So, I, like, made myself a target. And it was really sad because nobody stood up for me. That's really sad. Because, like, you know, there's 6 of us, so it's easy to pair off 2 by 2 by 2.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. Wow. Way to cut me deep.
Yeah, well, there it is. I was the oldest child in a household, so I got a lot of that. But I had cousins that were older, too. And so it was a really weird way of growing up because on the one hand,
like, you used to be the big dog and then you'd go other places and you'd be like, meh, I'm not cool.
Not really. I mean, I would be at home and I was head honcho. I was like the alpha, and I was just like, younger brother Adam, like you give, I'm the one who gets to play the video games because I'm the older brother. He's like, that's not fair. And I'm like, ha ha.
Jeez.
But then, I had this older cousin who would, he had, like, all of the stuff, even though he didn't really, because everyone in my family was poor.
Yeah, no kids had
no kids have everything. But, like, he always had, like, a PlayStation 2, and then he got the games for it, and I was just like, I want the games for it, but I didn't get them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was fine.
What's it like having, like, both male and females in your family? Like, your age. I don't have that. I mean, I have, like, one boy cousin, like, on the other side of the family, but I didn't spend as much time with them as I did with all of the girls.
Right.
And I always think how different my family would be if we had a boy mm-hmm. in the family. It would completely change the whole dynamic.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about, like, how it was because it just was. I didn't know any other way. It was fine. I mostly hung out with the guys, so I don't know what the girls were up to.
That's nice.
It was. I liked it.
Well.
Why were we talking about that? Oh, Richie is who I identify with most. Yeah, because he's like the goofball. Of course. I'm not going to say he's the clown because it's it. But
I thought for sure the other one I thought you would say was Bill.
Bill, yeah. He's the leader of the pack, and he's like, I'm cool.
Are you surprised I didn't say Beverly? Because she's the girl.
She's the goyle. No, I would have called you out for saying Beverly, and I would have been like, why? Because she's the girl. That's another thing. Can we keep talking about it? I know this isn't the It cast, but 3 things. 1, I don't like the 50s. I've decided that. It's been...
Ooh,
I know.
Interesting.
Like, I've grown up... This is very deep, actually. Let me slow down for a minute. I think all of us have grown up in a period of the world where the people writing things grew up in the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of reminiscence of that time. For example, in Stephen King's It, he brought back, it was like, the childhood years when it was the 50s and the 60s and everyone was like this. And it's like, for us, we just have to be like, I guess that's what life was like.
Right, I'll take your word for it.
Which is why I was so crazy about the new It remake, because
they moved it up to the 80s.
Yeah, which I wasn't around for, but...
It was close enough to understand.
Yeah, it's like people act the way act nowadays in the 80s, basically. I mean, it felt a little different.
Yeah, I guess I would agree with that.
But it's so relatable to us now. And like, the 80s is cool and everything, which is when the adult stuff in It is set. But adults in the 80s are less... Yeah,
fucking weird.
Yeah, because they grew up in the 50s.
Exactly.
So,
sorry, y'all. 80s adults. You're weird.
I would just drop this conversation, but I think I said 3 things and I only said 2 just now, so I have to get the third one out. It bothers me. Something that bothers me is like Beverly's most tapped on fear.
Yeah, you've told me this.
Yeah, I've talked about this before. Is like blood, and it's just like, why everyone else had like different things, and hers was this thing.
You were never a teenage girl,
right? And
that does symbolize like a lot of the things that a teenage girl would worry about.
That's true, but like this idea of
she's the girl.
She's a girl, so this is what she's scared of.
She would be the only one that's scared of that.
But
girls mature way sooner than boys do.
That's true. But that's why there should have been at least one other female in the group. Yeah. I mean, that's always true about these things. It's like, here's the token girl.
I mean, if you technically like think about it, you could change Eddie to a girl and it wouldn't change anything.
I feel like most of them you could change to a girl and it wouldn't change much.
I don't think you could change Richie to a girl because she wouldn't. Girls in the 50s wouldn't act like that. You know.
I mean, yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah. Food for thought.
Food for thought. So if you're listening, Steve, that's how I feel. Steve-O, Stevie boy.
He's not. Trust me.
You don't know. Yeah. So that's it. That's it. Bye.
So. That was how we're doing.
How have you been? It's good. It's fine.
Yeah. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
So, we usually move to Peeves, but we also usually have other people on the show. Do you have Peeves? Do you have a peeve?
Do you have a peeve?
Should we do peeves about each other?
We can.
I don't like your nose or your face.
That's not true at all. You love my nose.
I do love your nose. Okay, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's not start a fight.
You have some questions for me.
I do.
So
you want to jump right into
them? Let's just jump right into them. I'm excited and nervous and scared.
We don't have to get through all of these.
Okay.
So I'm not going to rush anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the answers to most of these, but I thought they would be something interesting to talk about. Since we were talking about, this is a good segue, like what, childhood and then growing up and becoming whatever. I want to know what you were like in high school.
What was I like in high school?
Yeah.
Huh. That's an interesting question. It's one of those things where...
Sorry. I cannot do this the whole show, sorry.
This is a word that exists in the English language. We can't not say it.
Sorry.
And you can find me on Twitter at whatever. Let me think. It's similar to how that's just how I was, so it's hard to describe it because it's just what it was. But I was very quiet. I was very reserved. I wouldn't. I was never bullied. A lot of people, especially in my situation, just being like a dorky nerd. I have orange hair, which was ostracizing, but I wasn't bullied because I mostly just was quiet and stayed out of people's way.
You never did weird things.
Yeah,
You just kept your nerdiness to yourself.
When I was very young, things would happen that mostly based on the things that I was scared of. For example, the being so scared of storms. There was this one time where the weather got really windy and also dark in the middle of the day, and it was at recess, and I freaked out and was trying to go back inside, but I think it doesn't seem like they wouldn't let me in because that seems bad, but.
No, they probably wouldn't.
They probably didn't because it was it's recess time, you're outside and you're just... But that was when I was a kid. I think most people forgot about that by the time we were in high school. In high school, no, I was just quiet. I was really smart. I would read books. Sometimes I'd read books during class and get in trouble for it because it's
Yeah, you were that kid for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to say that to our audience. MisterRed and I did not go to high school together.
Oh, yeah.
So this is really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Although... We did meet while I was in high school.
Yeah, but we did not. We clearly did not go to the same school.
Yeah, yeah.
What was I'm gonna just kind of elaborate on this a little bit. What was high school like for you? Was it enjoyable? Did you hate it? Did you?
I did enjoy high school. I wouldn't say that those were my best years. A lot of people who, I think most of the time it's the camp of you either loathed it and couldn't wait to be out of it, or it was the best time in your life and you never were happier. For me, it wasn't. I mean, it was more towards. It was really good. Things were definitely a lot simpler when you're a kid and you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. Right. But no, I had a good time just because I stayed out of the bad people's way and my friends I hung out with.
Yeah.
I just try to make my own fun and happiness. I liked it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want me to answer those
No, I do.
questions.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you.
Okay. High school was very. I'm very, as a Gemini, I am very split on how my high school experience went. I remember graduating and thinking my life was going to die. Mm-hmm. My life was going to be over. Because, what do you do after that? Nothing. You have to grow up. You just can't do. And so I had this one road of everything was awesome. I did a lot of cool things and I set up a lot of stuff that, set up my future.
Yeah.
I really laid down the groundwork of who I wanted to be and how committed I wanted to be to every project that I ever, stepped into. I made those strides in high school. I like to think that I had a lot of friends from a lot of different groups. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't go out of the way to be friendly. But when someone would, include me, I would definitely be friendly. And then there's another side of me that absolutely hated high school because there were people who were better than me. And there was nobody that liked me romantically. And that is very hard. Mm-hmm. It was very hard.
Yeah.
And when you're forming, when you're forming those years, when you think nobody romantically likes you, you're just why? Because you see the awful girls and why and you're just always questioning.
Definitely.
And so it's just it seriously was on my mind. I'm why is this not a thing? So.
That sucks.
It does. But.
I think we can we jump around questions here? I'll ask some. Was there a clique that you think that you identified with the most? I had a core group of friends. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even know what clique we would be. I guess a musical clique. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But not ones that were in musicals.
Right.
I was, but no, my best friend was in orchestra. Actually, my two best friends were in orchestra, and most of my friends were in choir.
Yeah.
I had one that was in band, and we had just been friends for for a while. Mainly middle school is when we really started forming this group, and they were just the people I just relied on for everything. Everything. I was very scared to do anything really by myself.
That's good that you had people with you.
I had some awesome people.
That's good.
So, what was that question? I can't even remember. Oh, what clique?
What clique? Yeah.
What clique would you say were you in a clique?
I think the one that most fits with me was the theater group, just because I was in the drama after school.
I hate when people say drama. Sorry, that's one of my peeves. I hate when people call it drama
Why
club.
Is that?
Because drama is a very negative connotation.
Well,
because drama. Oh, you're starting drama. No, we are theater. We are doing real work. We're not sitting around and acting like idiots unless we're told to.
I think drama has two meanings.
I know, but
I
just don't like it when high schools are oh, we learned a drama club.
Yeah, theater. Well, yeah, I was in the theater clique, I think most, but like you were saying, I had a lot of different groups of friends. I just had a lot of what's it called? A lot of pots in many fires or whatever. Sticks. A lot of sticks in the fire or something. There's a saying.
Yeah.
I basically had an in with any group if I wanted to.
Yeah.
There was the burnouts that were just
that I had art classes with, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then there was the choir, which I was in choir and I was friends with a lot of them, but I wasn't like close friends with a lot of them. So I guess like the closest
I
ones.
was the president of our a cappella choir.
Really?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't. You were the president?
I was my senior year. I was the president of the a cappella club, and I was president of the drama club.
That's amazing. Which
wasn't part of the theater department because we did have a thespian society, and I was only a board member, which really sucked. But
why?
Because you could have been president. Like, I could have been president.
Oh, yeah. But instead you were board member.
Right. Which is nothing, so.
Right. Wow. I learned something about you. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. And so it was cool. I had a lot of friends in choir.
Yeah. Another reason that I think I look fondly on high school is you always had people that you could at least turn to, even if it was just to like be around. Not even friends, but just like...
yeah.
But then once you graduate, and I mean,
everyone just disappears.
Yeah, and you're like, you have your very close friends that you make an effort to hang out with sometimes.
If they make the effort, that's what happens. They stop making the effort.
Yeah. And so you just like...
And you get tired of it.
Yeah. You're home and you're like, what do I do? I guess I could do homework.
I wasn't home, but yeah, I was at the theater. But
right. So that was...
I was just going to say something. I forgot. What I was going to say is I was friends with a lot of teachers.
Really?
Yeah.
You were one of those kids?
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's always told me, like, you're just so much more mature than, like, what you actually, like, the age that you are. And so, yeah, I would go to teachers and be like, you know, blah, 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 this is my problem that I'm having and whatever and whatever. And I've actually stayed more in contact with my teachers from high school than probably most of my friends that I've had.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And because you look up to them.
Yeah.
And I still do. Like, when I, like, need political advice on something or I need something sorted out for me or, you know, when to buy a house or, like, all these other things, I, like, look to those teachers because, like, they know.
It's very Boy Meets World mentality.
I need Mr. P!
Yeah. It's like, oh, this person is a teacher. They're obviously very wise in the ways of life, but it's like, maybe they are. My teachers, maybe it was the school that we went to, but most of my teachers were either they just went there and did their job and then left, and they didn't really have much of a personality, or they were like losers, just like lame.
That's sad.
I know. Well, I mean,
I think all of our teachers were required to like stay after and do at least one club.
Really?
So that's how like you got close with your teachers. And like my choir teacher I had from middle school, he taught the middle school and the high school. So like, and I ate lunch in his office like every day.
Yeah.
So you get, and filing papers and whatever, but you get to where like, they're like, what's going on? What are you planning for? How are you going to get there? They're like invested in you as humans. Yeah.
We had a couple choir teachers and I remember only one of them and she was cool. But I remember way more.
Cool.
So yeah. What question was that?
That was my first one. And well, since this one actually leads into the next one too. If you could go back to any time and tell yourself, like give yourself a piece of advice, what would you say and what age would you have been?
What I would do first thing is go back about an hour and tell myself not to write this question down because that was going to be one of my questions for you. I literally had it on my list.
Sorry.
I would also tell myself not to bring that up around you because it's unstoppable. So what advice would I give to myself?
Yeah, and it could be any age. It could be last week. It could be...
That is a good question. I'll have to think about that. I don't know how like deep you want to get with this, but
it's up to you.
I chose the school that I currently go to, the college, based on the financial situation at the time was that going to this school would get me half off the tuition, which would have put it the lowest amount of all the tuitions. And I was like, that's a good idea. But the school that I ended up going to is bad and like confusing and frustrating. And it's specifically intended for, and this is like part of their mission statement, is people going back to school after having like a career and everything, which is probably why they can get away with having it be so much. But also everyone who goes there is like in their 30s or 40s. So I can't really make friends and I can't like hang out with people that much, which is frustrating. So I would probably choose to go to a different school because I think just the opportunities that would be awarded to me, plus my just enjoyment of it in general would be better. But also kind of, I've just had this realization that the major that I'm going in, which is right now mechanical engineering, it's just like, I'm going to get a lot out of it and I'm going to enjoy it, but it's not like immediately satisfying the way my initial degree was, which was cybersecurity, like IT and computer sciences and everything. And I don't remember why I switched really. Yeah, you're making a money.
We had this discussion and we were like, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
Based on where we are in the world.
Yeah. So I changed, and I don't want to say that I regret it because that's a strong word, but I would probably make different decisions if I knew how I was going to feel about it. But I'm not miserable.
Where would you go?
Where would I go?
Yeah. If you didn't go to the current school that you're at.
I would go to the other school that's around.
The one I went to?
Which one?
My first one?
Yes, your first one.
Okay. Just curiosity.
This is a bad topic if we're going to talk around it. But yes. So, what else?
What would you go back and like say?
Well, I would just be like, listen, here's what you're going to be. Here's what it's going to be like if you choose this as your major, if you go to this school. Like, it's not going to be fun in any way. It's going to be like more work than you are expected to do. I would also just tell myself that it's like for real now, because like I took
for realsies.
For realsies.
I wish you would have come back and told yourself that.
Yeah. This is good advice for anyone who might be younger that's listening. But when I was in high school, it was very easy for me. I was just a smart kid, and I know that sounds like bragging, but it's just what it was. And I just got into the habit of just being like, I can just do the homework and turn it in and get good grades. So like whatever, I don't have to like worry about it or focus or study or whatever. But then in high school, you're not in high school. In college, the thing that it took me an embarrassingly long time to come to this realization, but it's like you are there to learn how to be the best at something. Like you need to set your mind towards you are going to become the world's leading expert on this thing. If you think like that, then it really drives the passion to be like, I need to learn about this. I need to like go through the books and everything. Whereas what I used to do is like, I just need to get good grades and pass. And if that means like, again, cheating is a strong word, but like, just finding the answers or like, just modeling.
Online or,
Sometimes the book will have an example and the homework will be a different problem, but it's like the same way. So you just structure it the same, just fill in the blanks. You're not really learning.
Right. You're just
writing it down.
Right.
So just really try would be the advice, but it would be more specific than that. Other than that, I'm trying to think like, I used to read a lot, and now I don't have time to, so now that's why I listen to audiobooks and stuff. I would tell myself to stick with that. Keep reading.
Stick with reading.
Yeah. A lot of it's just like, be a better person. No. You're going to meet this wonderful girl named Jody, so just jump in as soon as you can with that. 'Cause she's great. That's what you wanted, isn't it?
Only if it's true.
Yes. Is that all? I think that's all. Clever girl.
You've already said my name.
I know. What advice would you give to yourself at any age?
There's probably a bunch of times that I would go back.
Yeah.
But one time that really sticks out in my mind was my senior year. And it was around Christmas time. I went to conference with the thespian group.
Yeah.
And competed in a couple of different things and was like working towards scholarships. And at that point, I knew I wasn't going to school for theater.
Yeah.
But I guess in my mind, I just wanted to see if I could.
Yeah.
And I auditioned and I did really well.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get any scholarships, and the two other seniors I went with got like huge scholarships, and I guess I would go back and be like, listen, don't let this make you so angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't gonna...
I wouldn't say it ruined the rest of my senior year, but I was very angry. And I just harbored that anger. And it just soured me.
Yeah.
Which leads to other bad habits. I do the exact same thing now, but...
You really dwell on things, like you don't let things go.
I just don't think they deserve to be let go.
Yeah.
I saw this quote on Facebook today, and it's like one of those picture things that, like, I wouldn't say one of my friends, but like one of the people I sing in Show to Go with, and they're much older than me, like old.
What's Show to Go?
Show to Go is a traveling senior group that I sing with.
Yeah, literally not high school senior.
No, senior citizens. There's actually young people in it now. But
Jody is the youngest person there.
Not now.
Not
There's
now?
There's like one person that's younger
okay.
than me. But at the time, I'd been in it for 6 years, and I was the youngest by like 30 years.
Yeah, by a wide margin. Not just like, oh, somebody else was born the same year, but a couple months. No.
No.
Like, she could be the daughter of the next oldest person.
Most of them could be my grandparents. Anyway, one of these people posted today a quote that said, "Be kind to unkind people. They need it the most."
Ooh.
And
that's true.
I don't
feel like you don't believe that. Yeah.
That's like, I should save it for the group and I might bring it up later, but like, do you go out of the way and be kind to someone who's unkind to you? Or do you follow the golden rule and treat others the way you are treated?
That's not the golden rule.
It's my fucking golden rule.
Well,
and I don't know what to do.
Need and deserve are two different things. I think you're...
Ooh, that was deep.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of it like you wouldn't be nice to Hitler because he was a terrible person who did horrible things, right. But like, if people were nice to him, maybe things would have gone differently. That's an extreme example.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, I follow the golden rule of treat others how I want them to treat me. Preemptively. Like, I don't, like, even there.
I guess I start a relationship like that.
Yeah.
And I let that other person decide how I'm going to treat them.
Yes. I mean, it depends on the person and their behavior. If they're just a bad person, which you can tell, then, like, I don't know, just don't, I don't go out of my way to be mean to those people. I just, like, avoid them entirely if I can. And if I can't, then I'm like, very short and just like this, whatever, and then ignore them.
We can just coexist.
Yeah.
But not. Yeah. Yeah, so that's always, I just thought that was really interesting and saw that today and I was like, whoa, I do not believe this. Yeah. And that's just because my brain's very like black and white, like good people, bad people, there's nobody in between.
Right. But, and mine is very much like most quote unquote bad people are just good people who have made the wrong decision and maybe regret it, maybe don't, maybe they will, maybe they won't. That doesn't sour them or whatever.
Yeah. So that time just sticks out the most. I feel, like when I was in that.
So wait, what was the advice? Just don't let it get to you?
Don't be so angry.
Yeah.
Like, don't let it, because it doesn't matter. Like what that did not matter at all. Yeah. So what happened in my life. And I guess I would go back to maybe college, like right before I got into my program and say like, listen, you're going to have a great time in this program, but work is not going to be at all like what this program is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could take it from there. Like, I guess I would, before I went to the program, I would have maybe like took a small detour and got my bachelor's so that like if I went through the program, like I could just turn right around and start teaching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you wouldn't go back and tell yourself to get a different, like choose a different path? It's
so hard because I don't think there is any job that I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think of one, let me know, because I can't think of one at all that I would be happy at and that I would be really good at.
Also, that you are likely to get a job in, because they're like the fun dream jobs.
That's the problem as well.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed my program so much, and the subject still interests me, but being shit on every day. Not literal shit, but like just being dumped on. Because that's what nurses are for.
That's not what they're for, but that's what they
that's what they have
do.
to deal with.
Yeah,
being spit on every day at work by my bosses mainly is hard. A lot harder than I ever thought it would be. I started subbing like right out of graduation, and I emailed all of my professors and I was like, I made this huge mistake.
Give me advice, teachers.
I was like, I don't want to do this.
What is subbing?
Oh, I mean, you just go to a different office that needs a sub and be
it's
an assistant
like
for a day.
Substitute teaching.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Where you go and you don't know anything, you don't know the office, you don't know the people, and you just do a job.
Yeah, your personality type is very incongrusive, which is a word, to like a working environment. Like, you don't like being told what to do, really. You don't like...
I don't like being told what to do.
You don't like...
And I don't like being told that I'm not good at it.
Yeah. It's not like you require a lot of praise, like you're needy or whatever.
Right, but I just don't want someone to tell me I'm bad at it. Because in my mind, that means I'm a bad person. No, fucking kill you if you tell me I'm a bad person.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
whereas...
I don't know. I don't want it. I wouldn't say that I would have felt any better if I went on and became a dentist. I know you would have probably thought you would have felt better if I went on for dentistry.
No, I think they're different paths entirely.
I just, now looking at it, just don't think I could even own my own dental practice because...
I mean, I don't think every dentist only operates from their own practice.
Yeah, but you have to be on it enough to not get sued. And I just don't know if I can do that.
Well, I think if you learned so much and practiced your practice enough, you would...
I guess, but I have 3 bosses. I have the one boss that I mainly work for. I'll put him aside for right now.
He's over there. Got it.
That's Max.
We'll call him Max.
I have these 2 other doctors that I work for, and these are
also Max and
Max and Maxina.
Maxina. Max is also a girl's name. Go
on. Maxine. So, and these are the 2 perfect examples of what people... I believe there are these 2 types of people in the world.
Yeah.
There's Maxina, who worries way too much about the job and lives her entire life around the job and nitpicks at the job and makes everyone miserable at the job. And then there's Max, who does just as good as work, maybe even better, and could not give a rat's ass about the job.
The work environment.
The job, yeah. He's like, are you happy? Am I happy? Is my patient happy? We're good. Like, he does not let anything else bother him. And he does the job. He tells me I'm good at my job, and we're good. So. Yeah. So if that only worked for Max, it would be okay, but I don't.
Right. And you have I think you have a shifting rotation where sometimes you're working directly with some people.
Yeah.
That'd be hard.
It is.
My environment is much more stable, although I have my share of problems.
Right. So I would definitely go back and just be like, listen, this is not... Maybe this isn't something you want to... I don't know.
Or at least... I don't know what you would do differently, because I'm not talking about career paths, but career paths as in...
I would have been just so stubborn. I would have been like, no, we're doing this. So I don't think it would have changed. In terms of getting a job at a new place. This is the best place is the thing. This is the best place for the field that I'm in. And believe it or not, they treat us way better than other places. Oh yeah, we talked about our vacation. Which was paid for by this place. Right. So that's that question. That's that question. I would like to pose a question to you. I have one that kind of piggybacks on that, but go ahead. Well, so do I. Okay, cool. What advice would you give your future self if you could go into the future and give yourself some advice? Well, that depends. How did my future turn out? You tell me. It's your life. Oh my god. This is a hard question.
I know, it is, yeah.
I don't know, because I worry so much about my future now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I guess as long as I have children who are happy and like good, quote unquote, human beings, I guess I would say don't sweat the small stuff. But
right. Like you would listen to yourself.
Right. But like I would listen to myself. Because I can't.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
Because, I mean, people tell you now, it's like, this doesn't matter, don't worry about it. You're like, it's
and
too
this
late.
is my entire life,
Right.
so...
What else do I have?
Yeah. No, and I don't know how my life will turn out and, like, the people around me. I guess I would tell myself to live a little more for myself and not so much for other people.
Yeah.
Because I live my life right now for everyone else besides me.
Yeah.
I live my life. Like, I haven't moved in to this apartment because I'm scared to leave home because I fear that my grandmother will die and I didn't spend enough time with her, or...
Her grandmother lives, like, right across the street from her, and they see her, like, every night for dinner. Yeah.
Right, so I don't want to regret anything, but at the time it is, like, crippling.
Yeah.
Because I don't do some of the things that I want to do.
Yeah. It's hard because, like, it is, like, a thing that's on your mind, so it's not like you can just be like, I don't know what I'm saying here.
Good try.
I'm agreeing with you. You're right.
Okay.
I'm trying to do that thing where I like rephrase it in my own words, but like you said it.
Why?
So, yeah.
I just plagiarized.
I don't know.
So, what's your answer? What would you tell your future self? I would love to know.
I wish that I had thought of this question like much sooner than I did, so that I could like write something down, because I have the potential to be like really deep with this.
You do.
But unfortunately, I'll just have to go with just off the top of my head, which is just like keep being a solid person.
What?
Would sound...
Oh, yeah.
Would sound like...
Because Jody is not going to be solid.
No, just because I have no idea how my life's going to turn out. I don't know like what direction it'll go or how I'll be, but I see people change and just become sometimes bad people, sometimes good people, but it's like jaded or miserable or sad. And I feel like I go through life with such optimism and sunniness and carefree, even sometimes more so than I should be.
Yeah.
So I would just tell myself, I would, like, if I got to meet myself in the future and I found that I was like Scrooge or whatever, I would just try to...
like, bitch, please,
yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah, I would just try to like...
person.
I would try to show myself what I used to be, and like hopefully...
I hope you always keep the optimism, because I am so not.
Yeah. And maybe this is optimistic privilege to say, but I've never actually felt like I'm an optimist. I've always felt like I'm a realist.
That's great. That's probably a good way to be.
Yeah. Because I always feel like everyone else freaks out about something, or is like, oh, everything's going to be, like, for example, you will be freaking out about something, and I'll just be like, this doesn't matter. Everything's going to turn out fine. Even if it's not perfect, it's going to be still good, or at least it'll suffice, or whatever. And people will be like, oh, you're so optimistic. And I'm like, I just think that's how it's going to go.
I think those are the best people who don't know that they're a godsend.
Okay.
Just like if you thought about it and you're like, oh, I gotta be positive because I'm the positive guy, like, it wouldn't be the same.
Oh, right. I don't do it because I have to.
Right.
I do it just because that's how I feel inside myself.
Right.
So that's it. Also, can I borrow some money? Because I'm sure I'll be rich in the future. That'd be nice. I don't know what the rules are.
I thought you were like asking me. I was like,
oh,
no.
Well, I mean, if the answer is yes.
No, you will have way more money than me, hopefully.
Hell yeah. So that's
good question.
That's my...
I'm gonna, since we're playing this backwards, forwards, tell yourself, tell other people, tell this, where I'm gonna say my next one. That I'm really excited to hear what are gonna say to this. What advice would you give to a new couple? Who you like truly think like they could make it, but like what advice would you give them?
What an amazing question. I love this. Okay. Do you want to answer first, or do you want me to?
I want you to answer. I asked you.
Well, usually the way...
I know.
For new listeners, if this is your first episode, listen to a different one. It's 45 minutes in, so I'm sorry that I'm telling you this now, but what we usually do is we ask a question, and then whoever asks a question answers it, and then we go around. But this is a little different. So, what advice would I give to a new couple? Well, there are so many different couples.
Okay.
I feel like every single one of my answers has been, well, everything's different and it depends, but that's how life works. So there are just a lot of couples that have various problems. And so if I were to specify one, it's like, well, you're discounting all the couples that think this. But I guess the key to a majority of couples is going to be communication, both with each other and with yourself. Because you have to know what you're trying to say in order to properly communicate it to your significant other. CleverGirl and I, Jody and I, have definitely gone through a lot of stuff where it's like one of us isn't explaining ourselves correctly, and that causes a problem because the other person thinks that there's one problem when there's really another one, or maybe there isn't one, or whatever. So just understanding what it is you're feeling, which isn't always easy. And understanding that the other person may not be saying what they mean.
Yeah, that's a golden piece of advice right there.
Yeah, because there have definitely been moments where Jody has said something to me and I've just been like, I don't think she knows what she's saying. I don't think she means that.
You don't mean that.
Right, and then we'll talk about it.
Yes, I do.
We'll talk about it and you'll just be like, what I'm feeling is this. And you're like, that's not what you described. And you're like, I guess you're right, so.
You do it too, though.
I do it too, yeah.
I have to pull everything out of to be like, what do you feel? Like, I have to make you unmask what you're feeling because you don't feel it.
Yeah. I often not as in access to my emotions as you are. Yeah. What else? I guess the other thing that I would say is, can I borrow some money?
Shut up. Listen, if they're a new couple, they don't have money.
Maybe they could be
They're going out all the time partying.
Yeah,
they don't have no money.
Man, remember parties?
No, because we never went to them.
All right, if you had to give some advice, if you had to, what advice would you give to? I want to have this last pizza roll.
Okay, I would say everyone is going to have flaws, and you just have to decide if the flaws that other person has, if you're able to to live with them. Yeah. Because if the flaws impede and are what we call icebreakers, I always call them icebreakers.
Icebreakers.
Deal breakers.
Yeah. In
relationships. Like, hey, maybe you guys should talk about if you both want kids, or if you both want to get married one day, or if you want to move away and you want to stay. You need to talk about those things, and you need to decide if those are deal breakers.
Right. That's very good advice. And this also has elements of understand what's true about yourself.
Right. And if they aren't things that are deal breakers, just completely accept the flaw.
Yeah.
For what it is, and just enjoy it. Just make the most of it, because it's just what makes that person that you love
special.
Yeah, it just makes them what they are, and the sooner you accept that's just how they are, and you don't try and change whatever it is, you'll have a lot more fun.
Right, definitely. Any relationship that begins with I can change them.
You can't.
You can't.
That's not. That's a lie. I changed the MisterRed a lot, but
yes.
I like to say modified and improved.
Every relationship, both or however many are involved, are going to change everyone else, but
hopefully just you can't go in expecting to do that.
Right.
I did not go into this relationship thinking, oh, he needs to change.
Yeah. Well, you thought I was perfect.
Shut up.
No, you did.
Thought I was perfect.
You were. And then I got to know you. And now you're even more perfect.
Shut up.
But yeah, you can and you will change the other person, but it's not going to be in the ways that you
shouldn't see.
Right. You whatever you set out to do, you're not going to do. It'll be completely unexpected for everyone involved.
Right.
And that just breeds resentment, being you smoke and I'm going to try to get you not to smoke, and they're just going to hate you for it, even if they're
Even if it's for the good.
Yeah, you shouldn't be smoking, so stop that if you do. But, like, for example...
I hate this. You keep talking and then I forget what I was saying. Oh, like the things that Mr. Ed and I have changed about each other.
Oh, yeah.
Is I've made Mr. Ed smarter. I've made him just more cognizant of others, of like what others think and how maybe we should connect with other people, and we don't have to be so closed off from everybody.
Yeah.
And everyone tells me that. They're like, you have brought Alex out of his shell.
Mm.
And I don't know. I don't like that expression because like you didn't have a shell, but at least I guess I let people into your shell.
The shell I don't have.
Right. And then Mr. Ed in reverse has made me a more calm, not so caring person.
Mellow, dude.
Yeah, just like not so high strung.
Yeah.
And has broadened my mind on things that I never thought that I would accept.
Sometimes incredibly reluctantly. If our lives were a TV show, I would cut together like a super cut of all the times I've been like, do you ever wonder why salt is called salt or whatever? And you'll just feel like, no, I haven't. I don't care. But I'm like, I think it goes back to the Greek salah, which is not true. I just made that up. And then you're just like, yep, I guess. And then later you're like,
I'll come back and I'll be like, hey, how do you think they came
up with
pepper?
Yeah, how do you think they come up with pepper? I'm like, she's perfect. So we've definitely been an influence on each other's lives.
Absolutely. Are you ready to go on to another question?
Yeah.
I got one.
What was that question? Advice for new couples.
Yes.
Got it.
So in talking about flaws, what do you think your biggest flaw is?
My biggest flaw?
Yeah.
Definitely. Ooh. So it's got to be something related to, I don't know exactly how to put this, but like playing video games instead of doing homework. Motivation. No, motivation. And determination in terms of like getting something done. But yeah, I procrastinate a lot. And it's just born out of a sense of like immediate gratification versus delayed gratification. Like,
swish.
Yeah. I would like so much rather when I get home from work, just like sit down and turn on the PlayStation and play Crash Bandicoot. By the way, they had a remastered Crash Bandicoot trilogy. It's very, very cheap on PlayStation, so everyone get that. So much more. Just my mind is I just feel so happy doing that instead of like hitting the books or like doing
cleaning
homework
the kitchen.
or cleaning. Oh, kitchen's clean right now.
I know. I'm just saying, like, if it wasn't.
But yeah, right. So I think my biggest flaw would have to be just doing the work that I need to do. I'm definitely a lot better at that than I used to be, but there's always room for improvement. Do you have any comments on that, or would you like me?
I just think it's funny that that's my biggest but like the best thing about me is I'm so motivated.
Yeah, it is. So that's probably why.
That definitely attributes to why we work very well together.
Definitely one of the things that I admire most about you is just how driven you are to like when you
you used to say this all the time, and I'll never forget it. How can you be 100% about everything?
Yeah, it's true. It's actually true because people will be like, "Hey, clever girl, will you do this thing?" And she'll be like, "Yes, I've already done it 40 times over and better than anyone else ever would." And it's just like, "Whoa, I just wanted a pamphlet or whatever." And you like just always like shoot for the moon, and it's just crazy to me that somebody could be that just like on it at all times
about everything.
About just everything. I don't think there's been a single project you've worked on that you've just been like, whatever, I just wanted to get it done or whatever.
No, yeah,
so, what would you say your biggest flaw is?
I have a couple.
Okay.
And I don't know which is the worst. You can decide.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I'm gonna group like one, and then I'm gonna group a bunch of them together because I think they're basically the same. One I have over here is being too emotional.
Mm-hmm. Is that because you're a girl?
Sure is.
I'm a feminist.
Yeah. No, I just, like, I don't know. I don't even know how I got into acting, and because Lord knows if I'm mad about something, I'm not going to act like I'm okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It is crazy that...
Even though I try really hard. I could try as hard as I could not to cry. I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. I haven't been keeping track or anything, but 3 times on this very episode,
I'm just so passionate.
You've almost gotten it to you.
And then I would group the other ones. Stubborn. Mm-hmm. I'm very judgmental.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'd agree with all these things.
And salty. I'm a very angry person.
Yeah. Judgmental is true. You will see something in a person and then just like, that is that person. Yeah. And that's what this means about that person.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm not trying to change you, but I'm definitely...
No, but like, that's like we said, that's your best quality.
Right.
So that's probably what I admire in you that you can find.
Yeah.
You don't judge anybody for their flaw. You always look for the positive. And I just can't.
I guess, I don't know, I think... can I talk about it for a minute?
Sure.
I think that's born out of just the sense of such empathy for what people are going through when they experience an emotion. Because, like, somebody will say something mean to me and I'll be like, oh, that sucked. And then I'll, like, say something mean back to them. And I'm just imagining, like, I know what that feels like. I don't want to do that to them, even if they deserve it, because...
Oh, see, and I'm like, I have to do this because you did this to me. Spiteful. I guess we'll group that one in there, too.
It's just interesting. It's like, I don't know what your brain is getting out of that.
I don't think it does, because immediately when I do something, I feel awful.
Yeah.
But that person does not deserve to be to be nice to. I'm not going to be nice.
I do get it, though.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Because yeah, I get it.
We've gone through things in the past where I won't let go of something because I don't think it deserves to be let go. Because if I let it go, that means the other person won. Which I think we've talked about on this podcast before, that I do that. So yeah, that's my biggest flaw.
Okay. I'll ask a question now.
Sure.
Because you've had a few.
Okay.
So this is a question that this might be the first one that I've stolen from another podcast.
Whoa.
Which I knew was going to happen someday, but I really want to ask you this question. So this is from the Rooster Teeth podcast, which is a very funny podcast. Everyone should listen.
Roosters don't have teeth.
No, they don't.
So it's a really dumb name for a podcast.
Well, it's the name of the company that makes podcasts. So if you were granted immortality and also $100 million, but there was also this snail that was immortal and had the same amount of money, or was trying to get your money, and as soon as the snail touched you, you die. What do? You're immortal, so is the snail, and it's coming after you. And you have all the money.
No. This is like It Follows, and I'm not doing that.
You're not doing that?
No.
It's not, but it's a snail.
I'll like try to live one life really well and then just die. I'll just let the snail touch me.
I'll see. It was much funnier on the Rooster Teeth podcast.
No, that's scary because it is exactly like that. It Follows.
It Follows.
I don't
By the
like
way, that movie's great.
It is great because it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What would you do? I
don't know. What they talk about on the podcast was they would like hop on a plane and like go to the East Coast.
It's going to be there eventually, just like It Follows.
Right. But since you're rich, you have like a team of people to like track it at all times. So you're like, oh, there it is.
You think $100 million is going to last an eternity?
$100 billion.
Okay. You think that's going to last eternity?
If you invest it wisely.
I ain't got time for that. I got to get away from the snail.
All right, so you spend a little bit of money to monitor it. You take a couple steps.
Am I the only person that is immortal?
For the first couple seasons, yes. But then in season 4, you realize that there's an actual like coven of immortal people who have all found each other.
Okay, well, do I love one of them?
Yes. But the closer you get to this person, the more your immortality wanes and you start to become mortal.
Well, do they start to become mortal?
Yeah, both of you do.
Then there's no fucking point to this question.
What do you mean?
Because if we're both mortal, the immortal snail touching me isn't going to make a difference.
Yeah, but do you want to live to a ripe old age of 140 or whatever, or do you want to die when you're 60?
How about 90?
How about a compromise?
Yeah.
So you die at 90 in the arms of your lover.
Sounds fantastic.
But there's a snail there. That's gross.
I don't get buried with the snail.
You don't know that. I didn't say that wasn't true.
You didn't say it was true.
Yeah, you get buried with the snail. Now what do you do?
I'm dead, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, great. Well...
Was that a good question?
Yeah, it was good. Thanks. Ask me something else now.
I'll ask you something. Are you Team Jacob or Team Edward?
This is contentious because you and I are on spoilers, but we're on opposite ends of this. But I'm obviously Team Jacob.
I'm
obviously no
Team Edward.
Listen, we talking about this. One of them is mean to her. The other one isn't.
You know what? Edward's not mean
to her.
Yes,
he is. He's like very, especially in the beginning, he's like very much like, we shouldn't be together. I sound like
he's trying
Adam
to
Driver
save
from
her. Stop.
Yeah, he's trying to save her, but he doesn't have to be a dick about it. Plus, he's just such a
if
weird,
you're nice,
creepy
then she's gonna
dude.
stay there.
It's the Steve Buscemi test I was telling you about, from inspired by the Bechdel test, where the Bechdel Cast. Where replace a hot person's behavior with that of an ugly person. Same behavior, but as an ugly person. Is it still romantic or is it creepy?
Well, do you love Steve Buscemi?
No.
That's the deciding factor. Do you love that
even
person?
If you did, I feel like you'd still be like, you gots to go.
No.
Alright. So, physical looks aside, which, if that's all we were going on, obviously Jacob would be in the highest category.
He has an alpaca face.
Yeah, but at least he has a face.
Are you... Why do you think Edward doesn't have a face?
Because he just has a hole where his head should be. But no. Obviously there's no contest which one of them is a better looker. But even taking that aside, just like the person who treats you well, and this is just good advice for people. If somebody is nice to you, that's a better person than someone who is not nice to you.
Well, Bella wasn't nice to Jacob, so...
That's true. He didn't.
So she deserves Edward.
She didn't deserve him.
Exactly. So she deserves Edward.
Great. Okay. In that regard, she deserves Edward.
Bam.
Okay.
Oh yeah, take that.
But you asked if I was.
I won.
So I get. All right. I guess I was misunderstanding the question. You're right.
No, it was just a simple question of, are you? There is neither one or the other. No, two people can have the whatever.
No, keep going.
No, no, I'm done.
Team in terms of like who's better in general, or teams in terms of...
Team Jacob, Team Edward, and that's it.
Okay.
Do you remember that in high school?
Yeah, of course I do. Team Jacob, but she's awful too. Also, she sucks. She's just bad. Okay, so that was good. I liked that.
Thanks.
Anything else? I have more hypotheticals.
I'm not answering them because they're dumb.
So what if there was a creature that
Don't
was
ask
following
me
you?
it. Stop right now.
Okay.
I have one. Do you close the USB or do you just pull it out of the computer?
Oh man, I used to be a close it, like right click, eject, wait for it to say it was good, and then pull it.
Oh my gosh, I've never been that way.
Really?
I've always just threw that thing out of there as fast as I could.
Okay. Nowadays, I shut stuff down. If I have like a file open or even the folder, which you don't need to do. I mean, files probably. I don't actually know, but I'll close stuff, but I won't like
eject it.
Anyone who does that is a cop, and I won't believe otherwise.
Oh my gosh. And we all know how MisterRed feels about cops.
Yeah. I want to know if you have any other questions for me.
I have one more that I want to ask before the episode's done.
Okay.
I know that we've asked this question, or we should have at least by now on the show. Mm-hmm. Of what's your favorite movie? I'm not asking that. Okay. I'm asking, what is a movie you are always down to watch?
Ooh, this is a good question.
like, you're just like, someone's like, let's watch this. Or if it's on TV and you're like, yeah, I'm watching that.
I have two. And I think, well...
Oh, you came up with those super fast.
I mean, I have many that I think I do.
Right.
But of course, if I watched it 2 days in a row, I might be sick of. But there are definitely two that I am crazy about. I think one of them is your answer, so I won't say that. But the other one is Guardians of the Galaxy, which might just be just born out of the fact that I just watched it. But I immediately wanted to start again. I mean, I'm talking like the credits rolled, and I was like, "What time is it? I can watch this one more time," but I didn't. And then you were like, "You're supposed to watch that with me," and I was like, "I can." Immediately, I love that movie so much.
What's the other one?
I want to know what you have to say about this subject.
I am always down to watch The Birdcage.
Ooh, The Birdcage.
I am always ready to roll and watch that. I think it's because you like that movie, my mom likes that movie, and my sister likes that movie, so like...
That's rare.
I know. Yeah, that's very rare.
That we all like the same movie.
So I'm always like, hey, you want to watch it? Like, I guess I just really like it because it's a good movie.
I think it's cool.
I also like Osmosis Jones, which is funny that you said that, and that was good. That was on my list.
I'm
always down to watch Osmosis Jones, and I'm always down to watch Emperor's New Groove.
That's a good one too. You didn't say the one I was thinking of.
What, Jurassic Park?
No.
Oh, what?
Jurassic Park. Oh, that's a good one. The Force Awakens.
Oh, man, lately, yeah.
That movie rules. That movie's incredible. I love The Force Awakens.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't even get me started on Last Jedi.
We don't have time. Osmosis Jones, huh?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw it?
With you.
That was a long time ago.
Probably 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
But I only have it on VHS, so I don't want to, like, weird out. And you're always like, no, I don't want to watch it.
Who's the voice of the pill, Drax?
It's Niles from Frasier. I don't know his real name.
Yeah. I do, but it's not coming.
Sorry if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're listening. It's Stephen King, weirdly. His name is Stephen King.
No.
Cool. I like those. Those are all really good movies. Jurassic World. The Room. I could watch that movie back to back to back to back. That movie's perfect.
Why?
It's so good. It's so good. It's hard to describe unless you see it. All of the dialogue in that movie has been, like, overdubbed. They'll just be having a scene, even in a house, and, like, what they're saying isn't matching what they're saying. At least the timing. And it's just so baffling. That movie's perfect. It's... Go on.
Okay. No, I probably wouldn't watch Jurassic World.
Yeah.
On repeat.
It's because that movie's bad.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's just not
great.
It's
not
good. As good as I wanted it to be.
At best, it's fine.
I mean, I like that there's Chris Pratt in it. And I like that there's dinosaurs. And that's
I like that there's a Bryce Dallas Howard.
You do not. You only say this because I despise her.
No, she's good. I like her.
We are not starting this on this podcast. Great. What is your last question for the day?
Do you think that second Duran was really necessary?
Shut up.
Okay. For context, go back to episode 2 or 3 or whatever, where we talked about that. And that has been...
Peeves and Qs.
Thank you for listening. You can continue listening at the website MisterRedProductions.com. It's live. The show's on there. It's also at Libsyn,
which you already knew because you're already listening to it.
I mean, you're listening to it probably through your phone, through iTunes, but wherever you choose to listen to it, you can find it there. Tell your friends, like, subscribe,
we have a Facebook page. Like us.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. Mr. Red Productions is one, but there's also
we have Peeves and Qs.
Peeves
and Qs. We post all of our new episodes there, so it's very easy to know when a new one goes up because we aren't very consistent, but we're getting better at that.
Listen,
we
are getting better at that. We've been going good for a couple of weeks now. If you want to email us anything like comments, subscriptions, whatever. Questions, thank you. peevesandqspodcast@gmail.com, and you can send us emails there. It's great. Or you can do a Twitter thing at Peeves and Qs.
Yeah.
At Peeves and Qs.
At Peeves and Qs.
So you can send us a tweet if you have like a little short thing you want to say, whatever. Yeah.
Shout out to our co-hosts.
Yeah, who have not been here. There's Carmen Sandiego. Where is she? Where in the world? We'll never know.
Chocolate
Thunder, Mischief Gay, Woods, L,
Quaffman, and our very special guest.
And our one-time guest.
Oh yeah, one-time guest.
And several special guests. I'm thinking about them right now.
Yep, they're there.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. I think we just have to pull the Band-Aid off this thing. Bye. 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 Band-Aid off this thing.